You're listening to Whoa! Potluck.
Uzuhan.
Hey guys, welcome back to First of All, a real unfiltered conversation on career, family, relationships, and culture. I'm your host, Minji Chang. I'm an actor, producer, and oh my god, am I a filmmaker, here to share inspiring stories and to walk through everyday life with you. How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well, staying sane. I don't know if I am. This episode is coming to you just days before I shoot my very first short film. And you guys, I need your help. Please send your good vibes. I'm keeping it together just by a hair and by the grace of God and my amazing team oh my God, I'll definitely share more with you guys soon because we have an amazing episode to share with y'all today. But just shout out to Andy, to Jenny, to Melly, to Sharon, to Tan. Oh my God, it's been insanity, but we're so close. It's always the moments before any big event or a big project that it just gets extra nuts. But yeah, we're in the last few days. So please, if you're hearing this before June 19th, send me a prayer. I'll really appreciate it. Anywho's it's really excited to share this episode because it is recorded with two of my dear friends who have been guests on this podcast. And now we're all together to talk about a moment in time that's already been a couple months since this happened, but it inspired this deeper conversation on celebrity culture and influencer culture because the three of us work as creatives in different ways in, the entertainment industry and have learned a lot from the hats that we've worn, be it manager or the content creator or the singer-songwriter, the supporter, the producer, the actor, the on-camera person, the behind-camera person. Between the three of us, we've kind of done it all and gained a lot of knowledge and insight that I wanted to share with you guys because I'm constantly learning from these two. They're such a huge part of my friendship circle, my creative support system. We've been vision boarding together, all that, and we've learned so much about the layers behind everything that we do. That'd be fun to share that with you guys because we collectively had our Oscars party and Will Smith meltdown moment together. It's a little preview of what's to come. But of course, I'm talking about my amazing guests, Kevyn Fong and Priscilla Liang-Kim. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that and let you guys get into this episode. But I gotta hype my loves up before we do. Happy Pride Month. Did I say that in the last episode? I don't know because I don't know where all my brain cells are. But if I didn't say it, and even if I did say it, Happy Pride Month. I hope you guys are enjoying it, supporting, celebrating yourselves or being an ally to our friends and just creating more love and inclusivity because honestly, damn it, we need it. We need love. We need joy. We need laughter. We need kindness and empathy and all that good stuff. So back to my guests. I'm saying all these things because both of them make me think of these things and just fills my heart with joy. We have Kevyn Fong, who is a content creator who's focused on the intersection of Asian America and the LGBTQIA plus experience. So funny, so amazing. Go check him out on TikTok, on Instagram at Level 4 Alpha. He is a fourth generation Chinese Filipino American. He is project manager at Smile Media. He studied film at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And he's just worked with so many different influencers, and now he is one himself. I mean, talk about a glow-up transformation. It's just insane. And we love ourselves, Kevyn Fong. He's always there to remind us to drink water and to wear sunscreen and take a nap, self-care, all of that. So we love Kevyn. Thank you, Kevyn, for being a guest. And we have Priska, a.k.a. Priscilla Liang, who's a musician, a singer-songwriter, the co-host of the Two Horny Goats podcast, who had their last season 3 finale live recording episode last week in LA, which I got to MC and had the honor of doing that and being in such a great live space with Priska and Roxy together. It was magical and I was honored. But this woman has been a musician for years music started as an escape for her from being bullied in high school. She loves Jason Mraz, Sarah Bareilles, Rachel Yamagata as some of her major inspirations. She competed in Minji Idol. She placed second in the U.S. and 30 overall. This girl has such a powerful voice and so much soul. It is insane how much is packed into that amazing, tiny, powerful body, mind, and spirit of hers. She's collaborated with so many different artists in the Asian American and non-Asian American community, including our friend Dan, aka Dan. She had a live show in February. And, of course, Two Horny Goats, like, just inspiring the world with her brilliance. So let's give it up for Priska and Kevyn in this week's episode of First of All, talking about celebrity culture and influencers. Enjoy.
Yeah. Came in 88 with a dream, oh so bright-eyed. They knew right away, sink or swim, there's no lifelines. Cutting their teeth on the move. Nobody's
Welcome to First of All, Priska and Kevyn. What's up?
Hey guys!
Thanks for having us. Ow! Woo, woo, woo.
Woo-woo.
Thanks
for inviting us to sit on this cloud with you. It's really nice up here.
I love it. I'm so happy that you guys are here. And this started exactly as I envisioned it. Thank you. I didn't even have to ask. Good. How are you guys feeling today? I know, so we are releasing this in June, but we don't have to say what day it is or anything like that. But how are you doing today in this moment?
Priska, you go first.
Yeah, it's been kind of a tough couple of weeks here. I just got over kind of a bad case of COVID. That spike protein be damned, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But me and my husband, Abe, we've just been at home, sick as dogs. Like, I literally binged all 5 seasons of Selling Sunset, including the reunion special. And I've fallen into like a very bad Reddit rabbit hole of reading the Selling Sunset like subreddit.
Oh, no.
But
you do
yeah,
extra credit work.
I do extra credit. I'm here for the A+, honey. But so I think I've definitely just been trying to escape from the world a little bit. And I think, with the violence in our country, and then specifically, I'm Taiwanese American and my parents are pastors. And I think the shooting at the Taiwanese church has been really, 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 really heavy on my heart and my mind. But, I had a long talk with my life coach about it. And she was like, why don't we just give yourself a little break? Because there's so much kind of like going on in the world, and just like focus on the people that you love and that you care about. And so I think by jumping on First of All today, I'm doing just that. So turning in my homework.
That's great. This is part of the process.
Yes. I mean, being with my 2 besties, what could be better? But yeah, how about you, Kevyn?
Blood moon happened, and I'm like, okay, let's just let things happen. And I'm trying to find like a really nice balance of like really making harsh boundaries with my mental health and social media. And I know that's like going to be a very big topic we'll be discussing. I don't know. No, actually, for me, it's okay. So you got to like make love to your phone in terms of knowing the settings that your iPhone has. So you can actually set timers on any app on your phone for however long you want to use it. So I set my timer to like 3 hours, and I realized that's a very long time for myself. However, if you spread it throughout the day, you don't realize how many times you're checking Instagram, TikTok, everything.
Yeah.
So then so this little like notification pops up, and it's like, hey girl, you reached your limit. Ooh, you should do something with your life and get off the toilet. So that's a cute little boundary I got going on.
That's so smart.
I love that.
Is there an app that you use for that, or is it just native in the phone?
It's native in the phone, and I can show it to you.
What?
In person.
Tell us all the things. Oh my God.
That's already
make a TikTok about it.
That's such a helpful resource right off the top to give to all the listeners. Like, check your phones for your settings. Hopefully it's not just an iPhone thing. I think that's a really helpful thing that I will employ, because I've been noticing, because of all the stuff that's happening too, that I am more aware than ever how much I keep reaching for my freaking phone.
Ooh,
and like how automatic. It is.
I agree. And I think Kevin was one of the first people, like, you know, because the three of us, dear listener, we sometimes have little retreats together where we do all the creative things and we plot to like take over the world. But, you know, Kevin talks a lot about social media hygiene. And you were the first person to tell me, if someone is just kind of getting to you and you feel it, like check in with yourself, and it's okay to unfollow them or mute them for a bit. And it's okay if an app on your phone is just like making you obsessive about it. It's okay to delete it for a couple of days or weeks, like whatever you need, you know? And I was like, oh, it's so simple, but it's been so helpful to me. So thank you for that.
Oh my God, of course.
Now
Yeah, I've been
bring it,
practicing that as much as possible. Like, girl, you're allowed to turn off notifications. All of them. I turn off all notifications.
Of them.
So, yeah. The only ones I leave is my text messages and my, like, if someone tries to call. That's it.
Right.
Oh, and
I mean, that's
calendar.
so great because it's like made to be
smart.
so addictive. Like it's designed by engineers to be so addictive. And so like to bring like some mindfulness to that is so important because, you know, it's not our fault that we get addicted. That's how they're designed. But it is like on us to kind of try to be mindful and protective of ourselves, you know?
Definitely.
I think that's always a good thing to verbalize externally because those can be concepts. Like we're aware. Oh, I know it's like, I know the phone is made to do XYZ and they made this app so that I get, you know, so much dopamine kicks, like 8 trillion a second from scrolling all the time. But like, we're here collectively to tell you it's okay because I think I still benefit so much from hearing it from someone outside of myself or even hear myself say it out loud because then it's like a true, I don't know, like permission. Like, hey, girl, love you. You don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to look at it.
You
and for
can
me, I'll
unfollow that person and it is okay.
Yes.
Okay. But
Period.
have you had that? Have you had people refollow you where you're like, weren't you always following me? Well, Kevin's a celebrity, so I don't you can't keep track of it. So, a little different.
I feel like it's I think when I was younger that type of stuff would bother me a lot more, and now I'm like, you know, maybe they just needed to go on a little journey and welcome back. You know what I mean?
Good for you.
Yes. However, I can see the emotional weight to it and how it is a form of like emotional currency of, oh, they unfollowed me. They muted me and then I followed them back. Like there is a weird cultural gymnastics when it comes to follows and unfollows. It does mean something. However, it only means something if you give it meaning. So if someone, I'm really trying to train my brain is someone unfollows me, that's their business. That's fine. Because
100%.
I'll find another follower that loves me 10 times more than you do. So
thank you. Yes.
Bye.
And it's been a journey to get to that conclusion because I'm right where you are. I think even it's just like, okay, that happened. And not even just with social media, but like in relationships, like zooming out. If that is the case and we're not a match for some energetic reason or we're like not compatible, that doesn't mean that I suck or anything, which used to be, that was the feeling that it mainly would elicit in me. And now I'm just like, okay. And it's taken, and not, depending if I'm PMSing or not, I mostly don't take it personally. That's the most accurate to say it. But sometimes it can hurt. But
it can hurt. I hear you on that. And I think when I started going through this process, like of, you know, with Kevin and encouraging us to have better, you know, social media hygiene, I realized like even if I feel like I'm seeing so much into someone's life and I don't know them, like, you know, maybe a friend from college who, like, if I don't know the name of their husband or, you know, and I'm seeing like their kids and like what they're going through, I'm like, okay, this is just like overexposure to their life. Doesn't mean I don't still care about them or anything, but I don't feel like they need a stranger looking at their kids. So sometimes that's why I'll unfollow, you know? I just want to respect, like, I don't know, like what they're sharing is like, if it's like, I feel like, oh, wow, I don't know that I should necessarily be privy to this. I recognize that for me, then it's okay to unfollow, you know?
Wow.
Definitely. It sounds like it's the amount of information that you're receiving.
Yeah.
Like the amount
definitely.
of posts sometimes. So.
Yeah.
That
or
could
how
maybe
private
be a
they can be. Yeah, exactly. No, you're totally
the
right.
amount of posts plus like contextualized by relationship. I love how we're breaking this down. Honestly, this is really helpful for me right now.
Good. Love. Let's break it down. I'll get a pickaxe.
I know.
I'll get a wrecking ball. We're going to break it down. Yeah, I'll be Miley Cyrus and I'm going to lick that sledge. Nope, anyways.
I'm surprised
boo-boo.
that's not how you came in for your birthday party. Just
I'm
FYI.
surprised also as well. A big glitter ball, wrecking ball, just like come through the Abbey.
Needed. I know, just eating like
Nachos.
Lady Gaga Oreos, Chromatica Oreos.
It's
It
too
was
gay.
such a moment.
So winging in.
And I was sad that I was not there for a grand entrance, but I was there for other parts of the night that were equally fabulous and groundbreaking.
Yes, and that's all you need to know.
Not
Dear
suitable for
listeners.
other listener ears.
That is it. And then
And
happy
that-
belated birthday again.
And the
Oh my God,
end.
bless you all. Felt so loved. Thank you, thank you.
Well, I love that. Okay, I love that we started off with social media hygiene because it still is really related to this larger topic that let me just give the listeners a little context because
Okay.
we had a little soiree together. What was it? A couple months ago now? A few months
Yes.
ago? I don't know. What is
I believe
time?
so.
Yeah. Oscar Sunday. And it was really cute. And we had like, a little rosé, a little my first charcuterie board.
I mean, the most beautiful charcuterie board.
Honestly,
of
side
all
note, Minji,
time.
you did a very, very great job with all
Yes.
that charcuterie. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
She made a
Gorgeous.
rose with the meat.
I was improv
Come on
a little
now.
bit, but it was
Yes.
fun. I got in touch with my inner white girl, and it was great. But it was really, and it was a great day. And then we're just like, I'm sure none of us watched all the movies, but it's just, it's a little event and we're getting together and look at the fashion, all that stuff, seeing the winners. And then there was this moment that we all like had, the whole world, I feel like, at least America, and then ripple effects beyond to anyone who cared, which America's not the center of the universe, but it made
not.
quite a splash with the whole Will Smith incident, where like our brains broke for a minute. We were very confused, the three of us together. And I think the conversations that we had in real time and then in our group chat, and what I personally was like seeing like ripple effect again everywhere on social media and in my feed, and all these opinions being thrown around. I was just like, really, like, there's so much to unpack about celebrity culture. And then, of course, I just immediately go back to you two. Love you guys. I was like, we need to have this conversation because you're both brilliant and we all have our hands in it in different ways.
Yeah, and like for context, like the three of us basically were like discarded Westworld robots. Like, we were just like malfunctioning. Like Kevin's eye was in full twitch mode. Like I was, Minji just kept walking back and forth. Like I was just like shaking. Like, we were literally, if we were robots in Westworld, we'd be discarded. Like get this off the floor,
Yeah, no, it happened. And then we were actually able to replay it. So then I remember me and Priska getting closer to the screen and like rewinding 10 seconds. And we're like, no, that was a slap. No, that couldn't have that couldn't have been staged. And we were trying to I guess justify what we had seen. And it was so much to process at one time because we're like, no, that was Will Smith.
What?
That was
like,
Will Smith.
what?
No, that couldn't.
That was a sketch.
Couldn't have been.
That was
And
a
it
sketch.
fully-
And then
it's
we had
fully
to
a
go
bit.
on the internet. We had to go on the internet to triple check that the rest of the internet had seen what we seen. And lo and behold, yes, he did go up there and he did smack Chris Rock in the face. Good times.
He did.
I'm still shook.
And it was a lot and we had our opinions. I went through a whole roller coaster, especially in even the days after, because we were still talking about it. We're like, what?
Yeah.
And it was like such a, like, I think it just checked everybody's thoughts on like Will himself, the relationship between him and Chris. Why would you do that at the Oscars? Judging the marriage, all this stuff. And I was just like, okay, whoa. And I shifted. You guys, I mean, we were like, I don't know. I hate to even admit, I feel lame that I was like, I was just consumed by like analyzing it the whole 36 hours later. I was like, I'm still thinking about this.
It was like a rip in the proscenium. Like, it was like
In the what?
Things went
In my what?
Oh, honey,
think I
you know.
have one of those.
You don't anymore, not after it got ripped.
Exactly after that, it's all ripped.
But it was just like a break. It was breaking the fourth wall in the most like extreme way. It was how things have gone, the Oscars for, I don't know, like 70, 80 years or whatever it is. It's always gone a certain way. Award shows always go a certain way. And this was just a complete upset of that, a complete reversal, a flip, like, you know? And so I think the things like that are so normal, you almost don't see it anymore. And it made us look at it all of a sudden anew. And that was, it was kind of startling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I feel this was the first time that, I mean, the topic of mental health and like power dynamics and the relationship specifically between the academy and the Black community and how just all of that stuff was all put on to the forefront. And this was the first time where something major like this happened, where then all the other content that came out after it was about mental health. I don't know if that was the same way you two felt, but that was something that I saw after, which was all of the mental health stuff and everything after was very surprising to me. I feel if this event happened in like 2007, around like the crazy Britney paparazzi era, it would have been it would have been received a completely different way. You know?
So what were you reading, Kevin? Like, what were people saying about mental health? Because like, I feel like I consumed kind of different literature around it. So I'm curious.
Oh, really? They were talking specifically about, I have to look back at the specific articles because I do follow a lot of like So Informed, a lot of those types of mental health accounts that are about, that have a lot of infographics, I would say.
Yes, love an infographic.
Yeah, so a lot of it was like the dynamic specifically on how if like Jada could have protected herself. Was it a man defending his wife? Like things to do when two Black men are having some sort of power struggle with each other. What was Will trying to say by him going up there and asserting his manhood?
Oh.
So it was a lot of those type of things, specifically on my feed, that those types of articles were coming up.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Priska?
Yeah, I mean, I think like maybe a lot of the things I was seeing, I didn't think it was like framed in terms of mental health, but more so like the power dynamics. So I think maybe what you were seeing was power dynamic being talked about from a more mental health perspective. And I think I think it was the most surprising to kind of like hear people talk about, like, what are you going to do? You give someone so much power for so long where they get to live above reproach and they almost get to break every rule in normal society. And then you completely disown him when he behaves like a human would under these abnormal conditions. You know, you completely, you made him like that, and then you disown him the minute you don't like what that behavior crosses an arbitrary line. Obviously, this was like a very big event, but you know, there's been so many things done by celebrities that are probably inappropriate and that, you know, I don't know, don't belong in like normal, regular society, but because of their fame, they're given a longer leash, you know?
Of course.
And so I think it was interesting that obviously this was so extreme, so it was easy to, but they did make an example out of Will Smith in this, you know?
Right.
And that was interesting. I'm not sure where I fall on that, but that's definitely what I was intaking during that time. How about you, Minji?
I love the way both of you like presented that. I think my feeds, if you will, were like it's like a quilt of different things. Some of them specifically about mental health. A lot of them, especially in TikTok, because they're a little bit, I guess, not Instagram is a lot of images and memes, right? But in TikTok, it's like longer form than that.
Yeah,
so I
you can
have a
actually
minute
kind
to
of delve deeper.
Right.
Into
And there's a lot of women speaking out, and men and straight men that were speaking out on it in terms of the relationship dynamic a lot, which was feeding my feed a lot. And that's a lot of stuff that I follow is spirituality, psychology, mental health, and relationships, and like trauma surviving and things like that. And so there's a different spin of, there's a lot of Black women who are like, you know, I loved Will Smith and his behavior is inexcusable and going on. Then there were some people that were more sympathetic to him, saying like he's under intense emotional duress just because he's a celebrity, and then kind of like unraveling celebrity culture. I think my interaction with that and like who I am as a person, it was just so, I was fascinated by seeing everybody else's reactions because they were so varied. And that was so fascinating about what an incident involving such a well-known person, a celebrity who is really just a person at the end of the day, like you and me, on this larger stage causes everybody else to react in their respective ways. That's, I think, the big picture that I was kind of like sitting outside of and trying to observe on top of my own feelings.
Yeah, it's kind of like the blue dress, white, gold dress like situation where it's become some sort of like litmus test for the people around you.
And it's exactly what we were saying earlier. Sorry to cut you, but like,
no, it's okay.
What you're saying, like, I cannot, I will never go out of my way to like harm you, and I'm not gonna, it's like trying to find that balance of like, I'm not doing all of this for everybody else, and I cannot control what everybody else is going to feel towards me. When we're talking about like social media hygiene, we can all act the best we can, and it doesn't mean everyone's going to love us, or there might be people who hate us.
And I think that the one thing that bothered me about the discourse that followed is the people that tried to use it as like a way to further their agenda. Like, you know, I think even, you know, I think the stuff that kind of bothered me was like white women making it about themselves. Like, oh, it was so triggering because I've been through. I'm like, dude, this has literally nothing to do with you. Like, please sit down, Sarah. Like, you know,
sometimes Sarah, she just wants the attention.
Yeah.
Sometimes Sarah
just showing us
just
what
didn't
her
get
issues
her
are.
iced coffee in the morning.
And it's not the Sarah anyone else is thinking about. It's Sarah E. So no, I'm kidding.
Girl.
Thank you for specifying.
Girl.
Like,
not to be specific, but.
But Kevin, what were you going to say? Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, what that, it was a moment where everyone had to react, and I think because of social media, we all now have an outlet for where to place our emotions. You know, we didn't have to wait to the next day at the office to then talk about it. We could have like talked about it right then and there. And I think like for myself as a content creator, within the first like 30 minutes, I was like, I gotta get something up. I gotta get something up. Like, ooh, something. Because like when it comes to events like these, it's for content creators, you're just kind of like waiting for the moment of like what's going to be the meme moment. What is going to be the moment that the internet will talk about for the next couple days. And you want to be in on that conversation.
You were.
See, that's interesting because I'd love to ask you about that, Kevin, too. Because like, how do you balance like being the first to kind of get to the punchline versus kind of what we're talking about like kind of fueling this kind of celebrity impact, you know? Like, what goes through your mind in terms of that?
What goes through my mind is, I think because of the platform, it's known for commenting on certain lifestyles and pop culture.
Right.
It's just, I guess, part of the job in a way to be on top of it. You know,
right.
And to make it a little bit easy for myself. So I was just like, okay, that image happened. The image is out there. Let's just turn it into a meme of some sort.
You were so good at that. Yeah. We watched it in real time, Priska, because we were present in the creation of art. And that's, I think, my God. And I'm curious what you think, Priska, because you and I are podcasters, right? So when that incident happened and Kevin was on his phone, like creating brilliance,
just making
and like
memes.
It's fun, like. But your memes, okay,
quick. Yeah.
I promote the shit out of Kevin to everybody because I was like, Kevin's memes are like, I don't understand. I'm such a verbose person. I was like, I don't know how to distill a moment in cultural history into an image and like 2 lines. I need an hour and a half on a platform. My podcast.
I feel like you're so good at writing not only relatable jokes, but the ones that really hit to the core of the issue without ever being like Perez Hilton mean. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever feel like any of your jokes are actually mean-spirited. It's just like this relatable, straight to the core of the issue kind of joke. And I don't know how you do it, but I think, it's pure brilliance, like Minji said.
Oh my God, thank you. It's also just practice and finding the right font. That's all it is.
Finding the right font.
Practice.
That's the secret.
Put it out.
Yeah. I think for me, like, I definitely, that's such an interesting question, Minji, because I looked at it so differently from Kevin. I mean, we just watched him in awe, so I don't know that my brain was working very quickly or at all. I mean, I had 3 of those wine cans that you brought, Kevin.
Oh yeah, Bev.
Were they
we
Bev?
love Bev.
They were very good, and I can't even drink.
So good and so strong. So I was just I think that kind of break in this kind of like business as usual is what was going through my mind more so, like. And even, when the whole event with the Netflix is a joke kind of Dave Chappelle incident a couple weeks ago, that was exactly the fulfillment of what my fears were in the moment after the slap happened. And so that's kind of what was going through my mind of like, we're all performers in different shapes and forms. But I was like, no one should ever be afraid to get on stage. Like no one should fear for their health and their safety, on stage. It's I view it as such a sacred space. And I lived in Ashland, Oregon for a year with all of these theater actors, and every day they're getting up in front of people, and that's their entire vocation. And I can't imagine adding to the stress of hitting your cues, knowing your lines, being in your light, getting your makeup on, getting the right costume on, and then also to potentially fear that if someone doesn't like the contents of the play, that they could feel empowered to walk up there and take physical action. I think that was like the main thing. Obviously, there's so many socioeconomic and racial issues layered on top of that. But at the moment, I have to be totally honest, that was the main thing going through my mind.
Wow. I'm so glad we're regrouping on this months later. That is, I didn't know, Priska.
Because I was like, duh, the whole time.
No, but you weren't, like, externally. But that's so different. So mine, you guys heard me because I kind of defended Will. Like I was like,
yeah. Like everyone, we live in a culture too where everyone then had to take a side.
Yeah, interesting.
It was very crazy.
And my preliminary, the thing is, I was defending him. I'm being real. Like that was my first stance, and I was like, well, Chris Rock was being like, I actually love Chris Rock, but I also know he said some stupid. This is my context too. It's because my world, I've been around so many comedians with collaboration. I have gone to so many comedy clubs, and I've had comedians in my shows. I've auditioned.
There's
comedians.
A weariness in your voice.
And I love it. I mean, I had to have done it myself. It is terrible. I had to do stand up twice. It is one of the most terrifying things. So I have a lot of respect too for like people who can do it well, but I have maybe a historical bias because I've seen a lot of toxic men in comedy where they use that sacred space, Priska, to like say stupid, horrendous shit and feel like they are beyond reproach because it's a joke. And if you comment or get offended by it or, God forbid, like react to it, then something's wrong with you because you can't take the joke, right? So that to me as like an underlying thing of I've been in that environment and heard so many versions of like bad comedians or like toxic men because it has been a breeding ground in the past. Is it getting better and is it evolving? Absolutely. And I love that. But I didn't know the context of like obviously the relationship between Chris and Will. But it was also, I'm gonna be really real, like as a personal place of like a single female who's like wanted her boyfriends or partners to be more in defense of me or like more protective of me. And I'm Korean, okay?
Yeah, I was like, you're a Korean woman, girl. I understand.
Exactly. It's layered with culture, in my culture, right? That I've seen a lot of problematic Korean, ragey, temperamental men who they snap. And it's not something that I admire, but there's part of me that truthfully kind of appreciates somebody that's like, you can't talk to my girl like that.
Right. Because it is a love language in Korean culture.
Apparently.
Like,
it shows they care. Now it's the action. I can be considered one romantic. It could also be scary. It could also just be like, what? Why what are you doing with that beer bottle? Yeah, no.
All those things, Kevin. And that's what I was unpacking after.
And I get it. Like I love my husband. He's a Korean man. And there have been moments where I know, shocking. And there have been moments where he gets like protective of me. And it's actually like it's
endearing.
I'm sure, Minji, you know, it can be endearing, but it can also be terrifying.
Yes,
because
100%.
they might be putting themselves into a situation. Yeah, no, sorry, go ahead.
Because it's like, I can see that because it's like, then you're just worried for the other person because they're going to get hurt. Is that it?
No, 100%. I'm afraid for the other person. I'm afraid that he will go to jail. Yeah, I'm afraid that this means we won't be invited back to a party or, you know, or you know, it's whatever situation. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. Like a lot's going through your head. And like at the same time, like it can be tough because you, like me as his partner, like I don't want to do anything to emasculate him because that might either exacerbate the moment or make it a big fight between us later. I want him to, you know what I mean, feel, but also like I don't need someone to fight my battles. So it's kind of tough. Like, you know,
there's so much there, Prisca. And I love how clearly you can like go through all those different facets because they all coexist at the same moment, which is why I think our respective reactions to seeing something outside of our own circumstances from like a third party that's like that you in your mind have like respected and loved, because that's how we treat a lot of our celebrities. If we are fans of them, they're kind of like this like higher being, or like there's a bit of a pedestal, like for real. And and then to watch that, like something of yourself reflected, and then you're like, oh shit, it's a lot to kind of like reconcile. And
it's I totally agree. And I think it's interesting that we're looking at Will Smith, who has kind of stayed kind of on top throughout this evolution of what we consider celebrities to be. Like he's found a way to be, famous in like the 90s, where it was like very, very limited in terms of who could gain visibility, and then he kind of stayed through, his blockbuster movie phase where he stayed in the minds, he stayed top of minds in American households. And then even now in the internet age, like he has he's had a very savvy relationship with the internet, like whether it's through his kids or through his own socials, or, he's pretty savvy to navigate all that. And so I think that was interesting. You know what I mean? Because like like Kevin was saying, like if this had happened when Britney, shaved her head in 2006, but Will Smith was still a household name at that time. So it's an interesting case study.
Yeah. I love how academic you are, Priska. It's so impressive.
Right?
You're so hot.
Should I give you money?
I'm Sally Mae, so I will take your student loan.
$120 for? It is.
Well, I'm curious, and like I think there's so much of why I was like, okay, we have so much to cover, but even just in this one incident, there's so much to unpack. I'll say this, like Mike, I want to I'm being transparent that like I was defensive of Will, but like in the aftermath, I definitely like rethought a lot of it. I don't like what he did. I never liked what he did, but I think I was defensive of him also because in our circles, I'll say between the three of us, we're very deeply embedded in the Asian American creative community. Therefore, us being in that space, and Kevin's been managing influencers, and now he is one. And like Priska, you're a freaking amazing musician. You're like in these concerts and shows, you have fans, and you have this amazing podcast with Roxy. Like, I feel like our environment has been unique to like, I know influencers and I've met a ton of celebrities and I've hung out with them, and I have been very aware of like their regular people.
Fancy. Oh my gosh.
Like that they're regular schmegular people. That's my main
like
takeaway.
Us. Yes.
That like and that whole
their bank
thing
account has
more
7
insecure.
zeros. Yes.
Yeah. And some of them like
big
I don't
diff.
even, it's like don't meet your heroes too, because like some of them I met and I'm like, you're really just a turd. Like that sucks.
Yeah.
But like so that's also why I felt like defensive of Will. It's like he's a regular dude, man. He's going through like all his regular drama, but for the entire world watching and commenting. So if he had a moment where he snapped, and mental health is a freaking real thing. We all know that. And we're regular people with none of our business, involuntarily put under the microscope by millions of people. Like I would have snapped way earlier than him, in my opinion. So that's why I was defensive too. I was like, I wouldn't have done nothing better. I would have done worse, probably.
Yeah. Relatable. Relatable content.
I know. Totally relatable. And I think on top of that, Abe was just kind of saying that my husband's hot take was that we've all been stuck inside for 2 years and everyone forgot how to be in the world, and I think that's definitely
valid.
Another layer to this.
For sure. We're gonna expand on this, and we have to take a little break for a second. But everything when I talk with you guys turns into breaky break. Like,
I know. I'll miss everyone while we're gone.
But before we go to the break, I want to say I'm curious to your guys' thoughts, because as we wrap up this Will Smith conversation as a jumping off point for everything else to come, what your thoughts are on the repercussions, because it's been a minute. He's like gone off to India. Where is he? Rehab?
He
I
has?
have no idea.
I think so. See, this is the thing. We're all fixated on the incident.
Wow.
But I'm also curious about like the aftermath, because I think that's as important. And I think a lot of the anger that's been residing in a lot of different people, especially from men. And I was really actually encouraged to hear this from straight guys. They're like, if it were any regular person that walked up and slapped Chris Rock, they would have been arrested. Like, that double standard. Curious what you guys thought about that. Like, and I was so like defensive initially, so I wasn't thinking of that as much.
I'm also just picturing him at the spa Kendall was at, like at the beginning of Succession season 2 or 3 or whatever it was. So sorry, that's what's going on in my head.
That he's getting a massage.
Yeah, he's getting a massage. Yeah. I don't know, Kevin. What do you think?
In regards to Will?
Like kind of the double standard, like because he's celebrity. Like he didn't get
he
taken
can do whatever
away
he
and
wants.
handcuffed.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's a celebrity. He's going to do. There will be no repercussions, honestly. And from a manager's perspective, kind of any press is good press. So
interesting.
This did bring him back into the light. Finally, the Academy Awards were like, yes. TikTok is talking about us. Yay, the youngins. Like we needed that pop culture television moment, and we haven't had one of those in kind of a while. So while it was at the expense of Chris Rock getting assaulted on television, it did bring this like level of, oh my God, we collective trauma all together. Let's do this.
Oh, wow. Do you think they'll stage like certain events like this in the future?
I think so. I think now it will just be a joke. I don't think I mean, people run on stage all the time. Like, where would Taylor Swift be without Kanye? I believe in an alternate universe. Kanye did not go up on stage, and then Taylor Swift did not become who she became. Like,
and we never got Reputation. That would
we never
be
got anything
a
post
travesty.
Whatever that post 2009
We are never ever
Taylor.
breaking up.
We never have gotten that song, because that song has helped me through some stuff.
I don't know.
I don't know. That was probably
We'll
post.
have
I
to
think
go
that
to
was
the
like
multiverse.
2013.
So
We will.
I know. Oh, everything everywhere.
yeah. So like, I guess altogether, Will Smith will have no repercussions. He has too much money, too much power, too much influence. He can honestly come back.
Interesting.
And
He
I
has too many
personally
other
think
people money.
Exactly. And even if he doesn't, he stops doing it. Like, he left his mark on Chris Rock's face.
I mean, Kevin Spacey. The palm print. I mean, Kevin Spacey's like working again, so I mean, I don't know that there's any real repercussions for anybody. So, I mean, he got banned from going to the Oscars, which is a slap on the wrist if I ever saw one. That just seemed like it was more for optics than anything. I honestly have no idea. I'm excited to see how this timeline plays out. Hopefully, it doesn't involve our Earth burning in the next 20 years, but you know, I'm here for it.
We all are, whether we like to admit it or not.
We're on the spinning rock together.
Okay,
Get me off of this rock. Anyways.
I know, seriously though.
Elon, no, I'm kidding.
Someone launch me. Cannon.
Someone launch me.
I'll be the cannon. Shoot me out into outer space. I'm done. Speaking of which, we'll take a little break and we'll be back to talk more about unpacking celebrity culture. BRB.
Overstimulation, let us self-medication. I'm on bake all the time when I'm getting that bread. Ooh, new notification. Hope it's some more instant gratification. Give me your love on these pictures I've taken. Envy this life.
Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Raman.
How are folks still racist?
I know, right? We're like
2 decades into the 21st century.
Yeah, and second question, where's my jetpack?
Well, I can't help you there, but have I got a podcast for you. Modern Minorities is a show where each week my longtime pal Raman and I uncover common and uncommon truths that we all need to hear for our majority brains and ears.
Yeah, Sharon and I have spoken to doctors, lawyers, directors, climate activists, angry Asians, athletes, chefs, writers.
Folks who are Black, brown, gay, straight, and everything in between.
Past guests have included comedian Margaret Cho, Southern Poverty Law Center journalist Geraldine Mariba, comics creator Jean Lun Yang, and many, many more.
We've even talked about Ramadan, Black History Month, Kamala Khan, and Robin being queer.
It's like we're trying to solve racism with the podcast.
Challenge accepted.
So check out Modern Minorities at modmypod.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Remember, we're all modern minorities, but we're no one's model minority.
Hey, First of All fam, if you're a fan of the show and would like to support, consider backing us on Patreon. You can join our Discord community and get different perks by going to patreon.com/firstofallpodcast. If you'd like to support in other ways, you can go check out firstofallpod.com or subscribe and leave a 5-star rating on your favorite platform, or just follow me on Instagram because I love hearing from you. Thank you all so much for the support and enjoy the show.
Faking, living like you only could in a dream, seeing it every day on your screen. People posting pics daily just to feel seen for a half a second, scrolling down someone else's feed. Please.
Okay, so I want to say, like, I love what we discussed. My wheels are spinning in a million different directions, but I'm going to try to hone in. My main thing that I personally want to, like, kick off this part 2 of this conversation is that I'm excited and I'm hopeful that even though I know celebrity culture will continue to exist, I think this incident, amongst a multitude of like other things that are happening, including like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Yowza.
Like I hope that it's like a dismantling of celebrity culture, that it really can like evolve into a more like, who the hell cares? Why do we care so much in general? Like, it'll still be entertaining. But
yeah,
I personally, I'm so excited for the day that none of this matters that much for real. Because like there's a time for trash TV, and then there's time for like the news, you know, and there's times for like a documentary and like to know about humanitarian things and like a balance. Do you know what I mean? And like we're very like, and maybe I'm biased, but I don't know what you guys think. I just feel like there's been such a like ridiculous intensity.
It's crazy. I don't think you're biased. And, you know, yeah, I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts on this, Kevin, because you've been part of it so long. But I just feel like in general, all that's happening is it's playing up this human, like very human evolutionary need to see what's happening in social circles. But because we have screens in front of us, whether it's a television or a phone, and it's being still information in a lot of ways is still being broadcast, you know, whether it's being filtered out through different blogs or different news outlets, like it's still being broadcast from very singular sources. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just playing up this human need to, like, back in the day in like early man, like villages, like, you know, you kind of had to know what was happening in your social group because that was part of survival.
Yeah.
And now our village has just expanded to, you know, this kind of crazy, the whole world. Exactly. And so I don't know that it'll ever go away, but I do think it's going to change a lot because it's already changed so much in the past 20 years. And Kevin, like, what do you think about how celebrity has changed?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, y'all.
Yeah, it's not. No.
Celebrity culture is not disappearing anytime soon. There's always been a form of celebrity, no matter what the outlet or platform is. I think it will just continue to evolve. What social media has done for everyone, it's kind of like leveled the playing field, where now anyone can become a quote-unquote celebrity. I think the definition of celebrity has completely changed. Celebrity back then used to be like the Dean Martins and Judy Garland and the Marilyn Monroes, and you had to be this like
darling.
It was like, ooh la la, you're a celebrity. Take my photos, red carpet. It was very that. And then it completely just evolved and changed, I would say, with the invention of the internet. So,
Yeah.
Do you think for the better or for the worse?
I am neutral on that. It is moving in a direction, and I don't know on the spectrum where it's going.
That's fair.
And I don't know if I could answer that
morality
question. Like, is it good or is it bad?
That's
I
fair.
really don't know. It could be, depends on what side of the coin you're looking at it from. So, yeah.
Good point. Well, I was very curious. Well, like, the way that I've viewed different celebrities that I stan and that I follow and that I've met, like, it made me kind of see patterns because I was like, there's certain people that I don't initially, like, fangirl over. And I think categorically it's more people that are, like, really just trying to be famous to be famous. And then there's people who are famous because they've done something, right? They've created something or they performed something really spectacularly and in excellence. And then therefore they're notorious because they made an impact, right? Like they created something really, like Steve Jobs, like innovated, like he changed our whole world with the technology that he did. And not that I also heard that he's an asshole. So I didn't like, I admired what he made, but not him as a person. So I was like differentiating all those things all the time. But I think in general for me, when I'm around people that are wanting to just be famous, and I'll be real, like I wanted that too. I wanted that as a young kid, right? Now, all I see is unhealed childhood trauma.
Oh.
That's, you know, like that's
Yes.
my honest
That
take on it.
voracious need for acceptance and love and being lauded. That's filling some kind of hole a lot of times.
Yeah. There's some people who are like, they kind of like have a star quality. I'm not saying, you know, that's different when it's just like kind of who you are. Like, it's amazing. But there's a difference of like someone who's like ultra thirsty for it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, there's a level of desperation that comes off that's not attractive.
yeah.
I think to me, the definition of celebrity has evolved into the terms of we can create our own celebrities. The world is so diverse enough. There's so much talent out there that you can kind of, everyone has a celebrity to themselves. You know, it's not defined by the media anymore of this is a celebrity, you know?
Yeah, because Cillian Murphy is a celebrity in my household, but I mean, he's just like a normal run of the mill.
In my household, who?
What?
Huh? We do not. This is the household of Nick Jonas. That is who we worship in this household.
Leave Cillian Murphy alone.
The shrines.
But I think it is interesting that you bring that up because I think Hollywood used to be a lot about being chosen. And there was this, even if you watch like movies that are, you know, that happened back then or that are kind of set during that time, it's all about getting your big break, someone seeing something in you, being chosen somehow. And nowadays, like it's completely shifted. Like I think it is empowering in a sense because it's not about being chosen, but it is about being savvy enough to understand your branding, to bring that across to enough people and creating content that's going to keep them kind of interested, you know?
Right.
Yeah. It's like back then there used this, you had to be validated. You had to have that blue check mark and go, okay, yes, I'm a celebrity. And then now celebrities are like, you have a blue check mark? Okay, you're a celebrity. So, or it just means something different. It's just evolved. So
I think what you're saying in terms of the chosen thing, I think it's still so relevant, and like it's a matter of who's doing the choosing, right? Because if we're looking at Hollywood as an institution, it was a lot of these main studios that were really dictating who you're going to be able to view. Because like Kevin was saying, there's so few ways and so few vehicles for anybody to see any person on like a wide scale. It was very like such gatekeepers, right? And there's like these like handful of studios that are like this person and this kind of character, and then this like they're the hero. This is the ingenue, like whatever. And now
it's very set.
Exactly. And so it's very prescriptive and very, very gatekeepy. And now, but I still think there's a choosiness, but it's kind of democratized because of numbers. Like internet is like, oh, you get 20 million views, Bella Porch, you know?
Yeah, it is democratized. And we have to think about how quickly this has evolved because literally 10 years ago, like, you know, I was working in marketing at the time, and the idea that a studio would go hunting for someone on YouTube or Instagram to see their like acting chops was literally, that seemed preposterous. And nowadays people in big studios are mining certain social media, like whatever, whoever's hyped up on them for talent, you know? And it used to literally, like, they used to roll their eyes at that idea. And studio heads that wanted to try that, they were kind of like laughed out of the room, you know?
Yes.
And that idea was preposterous just 10 years ago. And it's crazy how quickly that's flipped.
It's so insane to me that of the wealth of talent that's on the internet, and especially from social media, they're already cast aside.
Yeah.
They're not even...
Wow.
They barely bat an eyelash at it. And it wasn't until I started really getting into working with YouTubers and working with top tiered YouTube talent and seeing the amount of money that they bring in, along with the actual influence that they have in terms of, like, they can't even go to a Target without being recognized. Like, these are people that have celebrity, like, influential status. And it's crazy to me that there's a old school Hollywood form of thinking that they have to give the validation. They have to give the stamp of approval. Or they won't even look towards, there's so much talent out there. You can talent scout from your phone, from your toilet. Like, it's so easy now. You don't have to go to a comedy
the
club.
Ali Wong method.
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
Right
that is
there.
exactly
That's so
what you're
true.
doing, Minji. That's what we're all doing. Talent scouting from our phones.
Talent scouting. It's
We
an
hear
A&R
you.
process.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Mute before you plop. That's like the rule,
Girl.
you know.
Potato. I think it's
That's such a good perspective. Yeah.
I think it's so interesting, and Kevin, because you've been managing talent, and like I know that you've again worked with top tier talent, and you've seen people who like have all this notoriety and who get asked by all these different brands and whatever, and that's become its ecosystem of like there's so many more people, and especially with TikTok. I mean, TikTok is its own like gigantic stratosphere of like people monetizing celebrity and eyeballs and viewership, and then being content creators, which I'm very like I'm a Libra rising, so I don't think everything's just like good or bad.
Oh my God, me
it's
too.
amazing. Are you?
Yeah,
Cute.
I'm a Taurus, Libra.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, feelings.
Come on, feelings and justice and balance. Like I look at
I'm
it
so
like,
sorry to be the Capricorn here.
wait, what is your
No
rising?
emotions. I actually don't remember right now.
Okay, we're gonna
but
do a
I
birth
will
chart
look
reading
it up.
offline.
Yeah.
But I'm just sorry to be the Capricorn
Roxy
with
is
no
rolling right now.
emotions. I know. She's told me at least 8 times, and I'm like, I'm gonna remember this time, and I don't.
Yeah.
okay.
What?
Sorry.
You
I
said
know. What? I think I'm 2 Capricorns. Like 2 of the ones are Capricorns for me.
dang.
But anyhow, sorry.
That's-
Tangent.
So amazing. No, I really want to know your birth chart now.
Okay.
But like when I look at all those things, like it's not like a just good or bad. And the older I get, I'm like everything's gray. It's really just a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible that you and I, all of us, can make a living off of like these apps on this little metal and glass box that we carry around everywhere.
So weird.
That's a thing now. And then like a byproduct of that is like also this chase for numbers, like that. The content creation life can be very, very draining in its own way, and you kind of become a slave to that. But also it doesn't always, I'll say from my little side as being the actor here, like hearing the conversations from like filmmakers and directors and stuff, for certain types of projects, like it's totally cool to go after an influencer because there's not a lot required of them per se. But I've heard there's been multiple nightmare situations where like you assume, oh, this person has like the chops to do this because they have such a huge consistent following. But then when they're put in this other medium of like more austere, like TV, film, need to know your lines, be memorized, know how to interact with all these other characters, know how to cheat to camera, all these, different technical aspects and craft aspects of like acting. I've just heard so much shit talking about influencers cannot act if their lives depended on it, but they're like amazing on the short form content, So there's that conversation that happens. So it's always just changing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
No,
there
that
was this
conversation
big
is-
embrace of it.
Yeah. That conversation is totally valid. I don't need to go into like horror stories of my specific experiences, but
Oh, no.
definitely
Ooh,
I would say
I
on like
smell
that
tea.
specific spectrum,
Yeah.
they have talent. Now, does it translate to long form acting, like actual acting, not just going, hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel? That's a great dream and that you can aspire to. But at the same time, you have to think they're so used to putting out something and it gets 1 million views automatically. In the comments, they're like, we love you, we support you, we'll buy your t-shirt. They get all the ad rev, they get all this money and instant gratification. The whole process of making even an indie film, a music video of something where it's the complete opposite of that, and you don't have the creative freedom to it, can really kind of mess with the whole system that's been in place.
Interesting.
I think the one thing that a lot of creators that try to want to go into acting, but just they're not honing their craft, and they're not kind of honoring the entire process, which is working with the director, working with the writer, working with a producer, showing up on time.
Yeah.
Bitch, if you number one on the call sheet, then you gotta respect everyone on set. Like, you gotta make friends, like be friends with the DP, be friends with the gaffer. Like, you just because you're talented doesn't mean like you automatically are the best. So.
Even if you're huge, you're still you're going into their world at that point. And so if you don't respect
you
that,
are just
then,
part of the machine.
you're not going to have a good time of it.
You're part of a team, for goodness sake. And
as much as I think short form storytelling, like on TikTok and whatnot, is going to be bigger and bigger, I don't personally think that long form storytelling's ever going to go away. I think it'll evolve and whatnot, but I think the form in and of itself, I think there's something about like a 90-minute, 2-hour movie that fits well in a human brain, And so I just don't think that's ever going away. I think like you said, Minji, it's always going to be changing, because I do remember one point of pride I used to have was, being a singer-songwriter, and I could kill it live. But a lot of these YouTubers who would be headlining the shows, they would come and they would be really awkward on stage, like didn't know, how to project their voices, never really took voice lessons, kind of were self-taught, but they built a huge following online. So they're headlining these shows. But over the past 10 years, that's changed. That used to be an assumption that would be true, 80% of the time. And now, honestly, everyone's 50-50, because now I think everyone's evolved to know that they need voice lessons, to know that they need stage coaching, to know, and so all these things are still being, are still in flux, even within the course of 8-10 years, it's changed so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's evolved tremendously, and it's also matured, and it really depends on the platform. It really depends on the final outlet.
So true.
So there used to be 2, maybe 3. It was film, television, and maybe radio.
Right.
And those were the 2 main
bringing
outlets
it way
of
back.
oh my God, you made it. And now think about of all the numerous places we can consume basically anything at any time. So
All
now
at the same time.
Yes, all at the same time, everywhere, all at once. All on my everything bagel.
But-
it's so
Kevyn,
much. It's so much.
Can I ask you, what was that like for you to kind of, I know we alluded to the fact that you were managing a lot of influencers and people that had a lot of visibility, and now being, inside the house, you are experiencing this really, increase in visibility and in notoriety. What's that been like to be on the inside of that?
Transitioning and moving
Transitioning, or even maybe how you viewed it before. Has it changed how you view it now that you are the influencer?
Yes, it's both and. It's changed in the sense of, okay, now I do understand the anxieties that come with it. Anxieties can look like, oh, I got it. It does feel 24/7 at times, which is why I try to really put harsh boundaries. So it'll be like how we were watching the Oscars together, and then we saw that moment, and I'm like, I gotta post it. I just had to post something. Being kind of beholden of I gotta post every day or every other day to keep that muscle really strengthened. And then there's the other thing of setting boundaries with the hate comments. You know, it's getting to the point where some comments can sting a little bit, and then it's what does that do?
That?
I've never asked you about that,
we've never
Kevin.
talked to you about this.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
so here's no, don't worry about it. It's I appreciate you checking in. It's
who do we have to kill?
Here's the thing. I've been on
She's got a crossbow.
Right? She's like ready. There is a red dot on the forehead.
I took it from
Hawkeye.
Sight. Yeah, let's go. In the name of Thanos.
Yeah, you gotta stop. Like I've been on the other side managing all these artists who also have 10 million more followers than I do, and and they're also at a younger age. So I've been able to, in a way, see it from a perspective of, okay, how do I like the way they're handling it? Are they handling it in a way that I would? It also made me respect them a lot more because they're being, while they're putting out content that I may not identify with, they're still being vulnerable with the entire world to see. They're putting themselves out there on a platform to be judged, and I respect them for that. Because on one end, it's like, well, they're the one laughing all the way to the bank. So I guess a handful of hate comments won't really hurt. It's just at the same time, you know, they still hurt, no matter how big your bank account is.
Yeah.
So for me, stepping into it.
Can you imagine being...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just a follow-up to that, Kevin. Like, can you imagine being 15-year-old you and getting the comments that you're getting?
No, I know 15-year-old Kevin would affect me. Or I would do something drastic and then start like commenting back, and then I would contribute to the fire as opposed to letting the fire die out. That's what I would probably do.
It's been reactive.
Or I would take that anger out on someone else, like a family member or a loved one or a friend, you know? I would take that anger out somewhere else. Who knows? So...
That's real talk.
Yeah, real talk, honey.
Real.
So hate comments, stop doing it.
Seriously, but like hurt people, right? And I think that's something that I think about a lot. Even if it's like I'm fortunate enough to know so many people who have a lot of self-awareness and have gone through a lot of healing and continuously inspire me to like be better. Because I have moments all the time being an actor and being in this space, anything creative or like kind of demands an audience. Even this podcast, I mean, I've talked about this so many times on this show, like here and there, all over the place. Like, I don't know if my show's worth making or having it listened to. And like, as people compliment me, I'm like, why?
And I'm always like, boo.
I know. I love you. But it's kind of this like, what's the metric of success, right? And like, even as a grown ass woman, I still very much struggle with it. I've kind of embraced that I probably might always, and that is going to be okay, and something I just have to manage. It's frightening to me, and it's just not saying like every generation has their different plight and they have their different threats, I guess, right? I don't think like we just have different dangers, right? We might be better loved by parents that are like going to therapy now, right? Like generationally, our parents here on out have maybe better coping mechanisms and are going to be less abusive to their kids. However, now the kids have a different environment where like everyone around them is trying to be a celebrity. And so they're going to be fucking terrible to each other online. And you're not going to know that because even if you're a great parent, like you can't control what's happening because the culture that they're immersed in is so brutal. So I think those are the things I think about a lot of like what's at stake, because when you ask kids lately, in the last like 10 years, you consistently ask kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A lot of them put like YouTuber or famous or like TikTok star. And I hear from like teenagers now that I still like chaperone, and I did this thing, you know, I talk with high schoolers every single year. There's a lot of, it's so much social currency. It's the thing that makes you popular and have power and like stand out.
I really do. I credit the both of you, and specifically like Kevin, I really credit you for helping me look at social media in such a different way. Because, I worked in social media and I did marketing, and I was a social media manager for years for brands, and I still do some stuff on the side for brands. But when it came to my own social media, I couldn't untether it from my self-worth. And I really did look at it as like, if I didn't get likes on something, it's because I wasn't liked. you know? And as much as I tried to look at it differently, like I really couldn't until, you know, we started, the three of us, and, you know, Kevin and I really had conversations about like, what is content creation? And honestly, doing that little stint I did on TikTok helped me like switch it from being, wow, this is like whether or not I'm valuable and whether or not I have something worth saying, to like, oh, let me just keep creating things and like see kind of what takes off. And in that way, like, it's a more enjoyable process because it's bypassing my self-worth and how I look at myself. And now I'm trying to just apply the same thing to, you know, to how I conduct myself and use social media in general, you know, because I would literally go into these rabbit holes where I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't get any comments on this. And then I'd scroll and see my friends commenting on someone else's thing. And I'm like, oh, well, in my mind, I'm less valuable than this person's post. And you play that comparison game, and then it becomes exhausting to post things.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, versus like
your intention,
just
it becomes,
taking like a, Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. Like your intention of posting was to get likes, to be liked, as opposed to just creating content that you, or creating whatever, a piece of art for yourself that you enjoy. And want to share with others.
Yeah, I would be, and you know, I would post a singing video, and if it didn't get enough attention, I'd be like, well, who am I as a singer? Is it even worth continuing as an artist? You know, like these thoughts would cross my mind, and it was I didn't realize how exhausting it was and destructive it was until like watching both of you work and seeing how you've kind of created a better system for yourself where you're bypassing self and looking at really like almost like running a TV show, you know, running like a morning news network or something. Like you're just, the perspective is totally different. And I really, really, really valued that. I can't tell you how much it saved my mental health over the years.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Priska, thank you.
Hey.
Thank you for shining that light. That made me feel so good. That made both of us feel so good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm very coachable, so please keep coaching.
Priska, I think what's so your magic sauce, if you will, is not something that you're trying to make. I think this is the essence of Priska that I rave about to everyone here, first of all, to everyone in my universe, is your vulnerability and your deep soul and your ability to just like take that from inside to outside in this like incredibly powerful way. Because I think it's a lot of these things that you just said, I've related every single thing you said, and I felt like so seen and so held because you're being so raw with like what you feel. And you're not, I'm not saying it's like not a self-conscious thing, like clearly you are because you're sharing that it is, but also the way that you share it is so like liberating because we all feel that, right? And you're not trying to do that. And I think I just want to like verbalize that on our episode, that I think that that's such an incredible like skill that you have, a gift that you have. And I think that those metrics that I've been paying attention to, you and I are similar boat of being like podcast creators, right? And being very aware of that very specific niche ecosystem. We've had our powwows of like, how do I make it better? And like, can you give me feedback? Which is great. Right. I think that striving is so admirable and it's not something I discourage. And it's also contextualizing it of like, why am I doing this again though? Like, is the metric to have 8 billion, you know, downloads and have everyone like it? And yes, it'd be great to make tons of money and have ads, but also that creates a lot of extra work as well. Like, what's the goal? And we've asked that of each other, and I continue to ask it of myself. Like, is it to make an impact or is it to be popular? Is there a way to be both? Or is it naturally like, if I have a strong point of view, it's going to naturally repel a lot of people? I don't think a lot of things I have to say, there's a lot of people going to talk shit about what I have to say, what I think.
Yeah.
You know, what I like.
I really, I appreciate the two of you so much. And like, to your listeners, like, this is why our group chat has gotten us through the pandemic. Like, because it's so necessary and I think supportive and loving. And I literally really think like what you guys say and what we say to each other is we each value it. And I think that's what keeps us learning and growing together, you know?
I love it.
Yeah. And I would want to say like, I just had this conversation with Abe last night, but we were talking about churches and how nowadays, you know, we both grew up in the church, and I'm not religious at all anymore, but there's this voracious desire to grow your congregation. And I think that correlates so much so with increasing followers, whether it's for your individual thing, your brand, or for like your podcast. You know, there's no ceiling, so there's always this moving goalpost of like what might be enough. And I think what Abe has taught me is like, you know, when I was trying to help him start his social media stuff, I was like, cool, this is how you grow. And at the time, it was like, use hashtags and like do this and like tag this and like blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, you know, I'm helping you. These are the keys to the kingdom, you know? And he's like, no, I want people to come across my story, and if they relate to it in a powerful enough way, that's who I want to stay. And anyone who's not in on that, that's fine. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Doesn't compute.
Oh my God. I know the perfect analogy. It's like you guys are making a pizza. Y'all are making a pizza. And Priska's like, you need to put this cheese and this type of mushrooms and these vegetables and this meat and use this dough and use this water for this specific dough. And then Abe's like, I just want this cheese pizza. Like, that's all I want. That is the only thing we're going to order.
Pizza orders. Oh my God. That's like not even, that's not like a fake scenario.
Yes,
that is like literally
that is the actual scenario. Like,
yes.
And I think that's, I think that's so valid, because if Abe just wants to sell cheese pizza, go right ahead. There will be people that just love cheese pizza. Do I want cheese pizza? Like once a year, maybe. But like, there will be someone out there that wants cheese pizza every day. Like, and that person is out there.
And
Absolutely.
honestly, if he posts something, he will get like 7 or 8 phone calls from people, from friends being like, hey, I saw you posted this. Like, I need your opinion on XYZ. And I'm like, wow, that's some, like, you know, seeing the repercussions and the kind of consequences of that in a positive way is kind of crazy, because that's not the rubric that we give each other, you know, but and I think it's like being happy and whole with where you exactly are is something like that we need to be promoting more, you know?
Agreed. I think so much success of like people that I look up to, that's a pattern I have seen. Not that it's always like that. The consistency can be spotty because we're human beings, and we're like, we get really driven by the fame or like the power or the attention or the benefits, right? The free swag, all the, you know, nice events and stuff.
Free swag, yes.
I mean, you know, I love a good moisturizer.
I'm not gonna lie.
We need another tumbler. I need another mug. I need another Hydro Flask like type of
more
bottle.
Shot glasses.
I need another canvas bag.
Oh my God. Don't have enough.
You know what I don't have enough of? Stickers.
I need a sticker and a canvas bag.
I just need more stickers. Thank you. I need it. Stat.
Talk about the evolution of influence. Stickers.
I know.
And that was my first thing, you guys. When I made my merch and I made stickers, I felt so like,
oh my God,
self-validated.
I just ordered stickers, so I am with you. I just ordered 2 horny goat stickers.
I will rock that sticker. 1000%. But I think like the way that it's kind of like playing out in terms of watching how we strive for these things, and like I don't want to like again be so overly, oh, it's so bad. I personally don't want to strive for fame. I've like shifted. I want to strive for impact. I want to strive for the phone call. Well, I don't, also boundaries. I don't want everyone calling me, but like that level of like impact of something kind of hitting really deep and not. I would love to entertain. I would love for somebody just like, oh, that was really funny, and they got something like positive. That'd be amazing. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
But I also care about impact. And so what that's going to result in has changed. I might not get invited to all the things. And this last couple years of like not being director of collaboration, you guys have heard so much about it. And thank you, by the way, for counseling me. I was going through a whole like upheaval of like, who the hell am I? Like I went from being invited to all these things in our very specific niche community to like the invites dissipated and in some places like completely stopped. And watching that on social media and then like revisiting like, am I going to make it as an actor? What does that mean? What is making it? I think like the thing that I'm evaluating now is just being intentional because I've seen how fame, quote unquote, changes people and how that growth and all of that, the pluses that we look at as like, we want those pluses. We want the free stuff and we want people taking our pictures and da 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 da. Like I think I'm personally right now working on getting to a good place of if attention comes, because fame is so subjective, right? Or like become a celebrity or being an influencer in any way, that doesn't change me for the worse. And I have to be very clear about what the hell that means. And I'm still not like settled on it yet because like I was like, oh my God, am I going to start driving like a disgustingly fancy car and like do, buy these things because I've had so much judgment. But I'm like, but that would be cute too. Like, what's wrong with having a nicer car if I like?
Honestly, that's what I love about getting older because I think all of us in our now like mid-30s, we don't care how people are living their best life as much as we did in our 20s,
Exactly.
So I can only imagine like us in our 40s and like do what, like if you want to drive like a fiery Lamborghini, like please pick me up. Like I will. Let's fucking go, And I think I think our metrics for success will continue to change. And I think fame will, and if we're being honest with ourselves, fame will and won't be part of those metrics at different times.
Yes.
But it'll always sneak in. And I think I don't want to sit here and being like, well, none of us want to be famous. That wouldn't be true. But how do we mitigate those feelings within ourselves and how do we manage it, in a sustainable way? Yeah. And how do we check ourselves? And then again, how do we keep people around us who will keep us in check?
Yes.
Because like we saw with the slap heard around the world, the like fame has created new norms for this person, for these people. And so that could easily happen to us. Because like you said, he's a human, and if it can happen to him, it can also happen to us. So it's something that is important to keep checks and balances around us, where if you tell me that I'm going a little bit cray-cray, I will believe you because like we've created a rubric together to kind of hold each other accountable to.
So true. And that's a huge blessing. That is a huge blessing that I don't ever want to take for granted. And I think those relationships, I will consciously do my best and vision board the shit out of it with you too. How to like keep that at front of mind, because I think once you lose that, there's a lot of room for, we all go in our places, but it could get bad fast. And have you guys heard of that concept? Like, oh, money and fame doesn't change you; it reveals you. Have you heard that?
Yeah. It reveals.
What do you
who
think
are.
of that?
It's true. It's 1000% true. I love that quote. I really, really, really love that quote because I feel.
Have you?
Like I feel like at the end of the day, money will change you no matter what, because you'll be able to afford the things that you want to afford. However, it'll definitely unpack and go, okay, well, what are you going to do with that money? Did you want to spend it all? Do you spend it all on? What exactly are you spending it all on? It does. It does show. It does show.
It does.
Yeah. Have you seen that like firsthand, just of that moment of reveal with someone who became rich or very famous?
I don't know if I've shared anecdotes with the two. It's on a very, very niche, this universe of Asian America, and specifically in the world that I've inhabited for a decade and a half with collaboration, like watched people go from literally people from the local colleges auditioning in literally a college classroom for a row of young professionals and students with a scoreboard, right? Like being the ones to say, yes, we choose you for our show and stuff like that. And watching versions of that go from being the nobody to watching them excel and like go into the stratosphere. There are some people that I've gotten to see straight up within our small showcases to being global celebrities. I've seen that very few times, but it's happened in front of my eyes. And the vibes that I get and the different things that I'm noticing, it's helping me be like a good barometer. Like I was like, oh, I was right about them. They're a dope person. And for me, the ones that I admire, the consistent thing I've seen is that they remember where they came from and they remain humble. They have a humility about them. It doesn't change their ambition. It doesn't change their drive, but they appreciate who they are, who their family and their true friends are, and they maintain gratitude and humility. I've seen assholes who like walk in with a certain confidence that's very seductive and very charming. Yeah. But I can also see, and I'm foreshadowing, I don't know if I'm manifesting right now, that it can be the thing that they're undoing later because they're so they're missing them, in my opinion, this is Minji's opinion, they're missing the mark of like they've forgotten where they come from. They are caught up in the power, the fame. And I don't know, I have my predictions, but I cannot say for certain. But you can also tell like there's a lot of people like they just start steering away from them. You know, their character comes out. And so I have seen it. I don't know their internal life. I don't know what they're doing. You know, it's just all like vibes. It's an unspecific science, but and that's for each person. And I also really believe that people are capable of evolving and transforming in really wonderful ways. So agreed. Even if I was like, oh God, they're such a douchebag and they're just like always going to be like that. Like I can definitely think that, but I could also totally be wrong. They could have some like life altering moment. They can like, you know, like so many different things happen to so many people. So who knows?
It's also not your responsibility to make sure that it change or how they change or evolve. So bye.
Exactly.
It's true. Exactly. But yes. And it's interesting because I think we're talking about celebrity both on a global level, on a national level, but then also on a community level. And I'm curious to ask like what you guys think about like specifically our community, like the Asian American community in Los Angeles. It's a very small community, but there is like a who's who kind of aspect to it, you know? And how does it feel like, and I know Minji, like you've run so many community events and you've been in charge of putting people on stages and on screens to a certain extent. But how do you feel about like our community jumping on the people that Hollywood co-signs like so intensely, you know? And I don't feel like we don't need to name any names at all, but that we have our own mini celebrity culture in our community, you know? And so, how do you look at that? How do you process that? How do you kind of stay, you know, I don't know, just above it, I guess, in certain ways?
I wouldn't say I'm above it a lot. I'm y'all have heard it.
How do you deal with it? How do you deal with it?
I think, well, how do I walk into it? Usually with a stink eye. Because I'm just like, well, like, I think the rose-colored glasses came off a long time ago. And so and because I have aspirations, it's all layered because I want to also be in TV film, right? So I'm like, I'm paying attention of like, how do I want to be and who are the kind of people I want around me? On top of just being a judgy regular human of like, who are you and who do you think you are?
Sure.
I think that people are opportunists, and sometimes it's for the best because they really want to elevate the community. They really want to advance, you know, representation or like the queer community or whatever. Like they have their own personal agenda, and that agenda is not always bad, you know? But because they have their agenda, they can overlook a lot of things. Again, like there's so much that they see. Celebrities can just be for whatever they bring, their clout or their numbers or whatever, right? It's just you're a shiny object. And so people can get very, you know, seduced by that. Yeah. And it happens.
Yeah.
And the way I deal with it is like Kevin said, like it's not, I don't feel like a good person when I'm as judgy as I have been. So I've been really working on that to be more empathetic and to disconnect, honestly, just like detach. I was like, you know, like you're spending way too much of your limited energy, especially after COVID. Like, really, is this where you want to allocate your fucks? Really? Like, such a limited supply.
but it can get under your skin.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And
especially because you've been a curator for the community for so many years, maybe not so much right now, but you were for so long, so it's hard to like step away from that life and then see how other people are kind of taking that mantle up and then not be frustrated. I think that's very human.
Thank you. Thank you, Priska, for validating me. But yeah, I know I get very idealistic and that can be a fault. Like, honestly, it's very exhausting to like, I want good people to succeed. Right. And that is my opinion, but I have my metrics of who I think are good people. And when there's talented people and good people, that's like the best. I'm like, fuck yeah, go.
That's
like
the apex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's all these choices around me that it's like, it's just a clout chasing, or it's just a like utilization of each other's fame and power to like reach this other goal. And sometimes it turns out great and sometimes it doesn't. That's life. But yeah, I have to like talk about it to my therapist. I like, oh, poor Emily. She's heard so much about me.
Emily.
We love you, Emily. Thank you.
Yes.
But that's how I do. I talk about it. I acknowledge it. I then examine like, what is my relationship? Why am I so triggered by these certain things? How can I detach from it? How can I take action in my own life to what Kevin said at the very top, just to have good social hygiene, to practice empathy if I do come across for myself and the person that I'm like being triggered by, and be like, hey, you know what? I don't know what your life is. Like, don't know.
Yeah.
You have a nicer car than me. That's about it. And like, cool, just zoom out and detach and then do it all over again.
Bird's eye view. Look, be a drone is what you're saying. Be a drone.
Kind of.
Just kidding.
But I love you both. As we close out this, I love this conversation so much. It's been honestly very healing. How do you guys feel?
It felt like 2 minutes, but I realized it's been like an hour and a half. Yeah.
I'm curious, as you guys are moving forward as creatives yourselves, because we do this when we do our group meetings, what are your intentions as like the things that you want to put into the world? I'm curious.
Ooh, can I go first?
Like, yes, please.
Yes, go first.
Compassion for yourself and compassion for others. Ooh. It's something I've been doing. I've been practicing literally every day, and I have a cute little gay journal, and I'm just like, compassion, Kevin. And it just helps me be extremely kind to myself and extremely kind to others. So
it
however,
shows.
I practice on yourself first. Please practice that with yourself. So an example could be, oh no, I ate a whole pizza by myself. And instead of guilt tripping yourself, like afterwards and beating yourself up and then like going to the gym hardcore and then getting another pizza after, just be like, girl, we had a day. It totally, you ate a pizza. It's fine. Let's do better tomorrow.
Yes.
So.
I love it.
I needed to hear that.
Good reminder.
I needed to hear that. Well, your compassion shows and it benefits everyone around you. So I'm glad you applied it to yourself first and then apply it to everyone you see and the work that you do, because it is so evident.
Ugh, bless.
Oxygen mask on self first. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, on this giant hurling rock going through space. Please put your masks on.
Which apparently the aliens have arrived and stuff. Like, anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
Okay. Yeah. What about
we're
you,
just all on
Priska?
this rock.
Wow, compassion. I love that so much. I think for me, a lot of what I'm trying to do in the world is just to not take things for face value. And I think it's really, I think I am a person who like maybe too easily buys into things and too easily can jump on whatever team and pick a side. And just for myself, I'm trying to just like slice through things horizontally and think about things at its cross sections, at its intersections, and to break that down in easily chewable ways. Like, whether it's cooking or whether it's deeper topics like we cover on the podcast. Like, I just don't want to just take things for face value and jump on a bandwagon really quickly just because it feels good. And I know it feels good because I'm very prone to that. So it's been a good exercise for me, I think. Yeah.
So self-aware.
I don't know. But I try.
You do. No, you're so good at that. You're so good at that. I think knowing like what you are prone to, that I'm going to take that word. That is a word I'm taking out of this conversation.
Yes.
And I think that's actually a good, I think a more compassionate way to frame a quote unquote weakness. Like, oh, yeah, this is a weakness. I blah, blah, blah. No, it's like I'm prone to this. Like,
yes,
I am prone to being judgmental. Has it also helped me sometimes? Yeah. Like my judginess has made me very discerning in a lot of situations. Like I've developed a strong, eye or mind or whatever you want to call it. So there's multiple ways to look at it. And I love that you brought that to the table. You are the table, Priska.
How about you, Minji?
I think what I intend to move forward is I've been big on the honesty thing. I think that is something I've shied away from in my own life sometimes because the honest truth hurts a lot. It's not pleasant. It's not always terrible, but I also think honesty and truthfulness is a good way to like solve problems, I guess. The ones that really need solving. The honest truth is, I get a really big kick out of getting lots of likes on a post. Is that the best way for me to like derive joy out of my life? Is it making me happy? You know, like what's the truth there? And what do I want? Then what would be best for me to do about that? Truthfully, not posting more photos so I get more likes and then, keep getting the, or is it to like revisit my relationship with social media and like, what am I really wanting? Is then I can be compassionate to myself and, talk to myself and say loving things in the mirror.
Yeah.
Versus
loving things in the mirror.
Yeah, like instead of trying to post things all the time. Like truth, and that's the intention of things I want to make. Film, my acting. I'm learning more and more. I'm getting back into that craft and like wanting to be a regular person. That is what I want. I want to represent and be the everyday woman. We are very complex beings. We are layered, and being honest about that, not being afraid to be quote unquote ugly on camera or show unsavory sides, quote unquote, of my personality, like my aggressiveness and my anger and like, things that I've like qualified as bad. Being honest about that in the work that I make, that's important to me too. So that's an intention of mine, is just continuing to be as honest as possible.
Love that so much.
Yay. I love you.
We love and support.
And I love and support.
Thank you.
We love and support. Slay, mama, queen.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we kind of answered my last question. So, like, we'll say that that's the third, but 2 questions because we do our round table to close out every episode.
Okay.
And I love you both so much.
Yes.
What are you both grateful for today or now?
Ooh.
Okay, I'll go first. I got these blue light blocker sunglasses. Okay. These blue light blocker glasses for nighttime. So you wear them at night and they're orange and they block out all blue light completely, because what it does is it helps start your body to start producing melatonin naturally. So you can get a proper night's sleep. Yes, mama, we're in our 30s. Okay. I got my physical last week. Your
and
my doctor
link.
was like, oh my God, have you tried these glasses? I was like, I'm ordering them. So I just found a pair off Amazon, and I kid you not. I mean, I do look like a scientist that has like orange glasses at nighttime. However, I kid you not, I've been doing it every day this week. I'm able to go to sleep faster and more naturally.
Like, no,
yes.
My God!
What is your ambassador link or whatever?
It's level 4 alpha eyes.
Okay, I'm just picturing you as Jeff Goldblum in like Jurassic
Literally,
Park.
I look like Jeff Goldblum. Literally, I look like Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, that is so hot.
It's so
I am
good,
here for
and
it.
I'm just so thankful because we're constantly on our. Even if we're not doing work and we stop at like 7 p.m., we're still gonna watch TV. Our lights are still on. We'll check social media, and all of those blue lights are still gonna get to us. So block them all out.
Yeah.
Yes, we love
science.
I'm
science.
Yeah, I'm thankful for science. Yes.
Yes.
Love.
What are y'all thankful for?
I weirdly, like, I've been sick with COVID for the past 2 weeks, and I'm finally feeling a lot better, but I was really grateful for the time to be still. I think even though we've been in a pandemic, I think I've so quickly gone back to packing my calendar with dinners and events and whatnot, and then I think it was just so great to remind myself of there's a beauty and a comfort and obviously a peacefulness in stillness and not going anywhere, and just spending time with myself. And I've been really grateful for that, because I didn't realize how tired I was, because when you're just going, you don't feel it. And then when you get the chance to really stop, you appreciate just how nice it feels to not have to keep spinning.
Yeah, that's so good. I was so worried because I know you're physically so in such a yucky place, but I'm so glad that you got that. That's a great side benefit. I love it.
Dang on.
I'm thankful for you too,
so
Acupuncture. Nice. I'm so thankful for you too. I just cannot express.
We got a good thing going.
We do.
I think so. I think we should take this on the road.
Oh, we will. And what are you guys looking forward to?
A great night's sleep after I wear my night glasses. Ooh, producing natural melatonin.
Tying it all together.
Forget Joe's supplements.
I'm looking forward to having a little bit of immunity for a little bit from this little COVID thingy thing.
Nice. Oh, nice. That's really good.
How about you, Minji?
I'm looking forward to summer and to shooting my short film.
Yes,
which I need to catch you. We've been chatting about so many different things, but I need to catch up with both of you about what the hell's been going on with my movie coming out that I'm making.
Okay.
Yes,
it's been fab, and I'm immensely looking forward to that. I'm scared, but I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, we'd love a little bit of fear. Fear motivates us.
Yes,
we're being a little brave.
Keeps us alive.
And I love that we did our intentions reflections, but just because we're keeping consistent with the format, what would you like to leave with our listeners today?
Compassion.
Compassion.
For yourself and compassion for others. And who cares about likes and everything? I say make posts and content that make you happy. So
word.
That's all I say.
Snaps. Snaps. Wow, I don't know if I could, I think that's a perfect answer. I would just say you're doing great. And if it seems like other people are doing more or they're ahead of you, it's all fucking bogus. It's all fake. They're all just keeping up the facade as much as you are. And so just hold and accept yourself because you're doing great. Truly, you are doing absolutely perfect. Mm-hmm. Don't feel like you got to do any more or any less.
I love it. And I love you too. That's my final thoughts with this audience. I'm so thankful for my friends. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for providing such a good, insightful discussion about, I think, something that's so pervasive in our society and that deserves to have some dismantling. And I think we did that while having a really good time. And that's all I can ask for.
Work.
Yay.
Thank you too. Also, real quick, where can people find you?
Priska, you go first.
Okay, yeah, I at Priska Music, Priska with the K, Music with the K on Instagram and YouTube, and then you can also find me on a podcast that I host with my friend Roxy She, and it's called Two Horny Goats. So you can find us on the interwebs with that.
You can find me at Level 4 Alpha. 4 is in the actual number, Alpha with a PH. And I'm everywhere. So just look there.
If you're not following Level 4 Alpha, what are you doing?
If
literally,
you love
what
the
are you
gayest
doing?
Content, follow.
You better.
For the best gay vibes,
Yes.
follow.
Yes.
I love how we were just talking about like celebrity cultures, influencer culture's trash, and we're like, but follow me. I'm just pointing out the irony. But honestly, if the vibes are there, I say I love following people that I vibe with. It's honestly a joy.
Amen.
Nothing's good or bad. It's just like enjoy your life.
Yeah.
I love you two so much. I'm giving you huge hugs. So big. So
Love you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We loved it.
It was so great. Okay, I will talk to you very soon, as in like immediately. But thank you.
Like right after this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
A woo woo.
Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode with Kevyn Fong and Priska, talking about unpacking celebrity culture and influencers. Y'all need to please check out their content. I think content just is such a disservice, but we'll call it content. Check out Two Horny Goats on all the podcast platforms where Priska and Roxy host their brilliance together, and check out Priska's music and Kevyn Fong. Of course, you can find him on TikTok, Instagram at Level4Alpha. And thank you so much to my team. Thank you to Marvin Yui, my audio engineer and producer. Thank you to Anna-san, my producer, who's now so close to having baby number 2, and my social media manager, Juliana Deer. And happy to announce that for the second half of First of All, Priska's actually going to be my producer and helping me get these episodes out to you guys. So I'm just so excited for that and so grateful to have her on board. It's friends helping friends. There's so much love. It's wonderful. And thank you to my Patreon patrons. I miss you guys. I'm going to talk to you soon. And you guys help me keep this microphone on. So thank you so much for all your support. If you'd like to support First of All, go check out firstofallpod.com to see if and how you can support. All the links are there. If you want to say hello, feel free to email firstofallpod@gmail.com. Follow along on Instagram at firstofallpod and my personal page at Minji. And you can find First of All on all the podcast platforms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, whatnot. If you liked it, enjoy it, share it with a friend. Please leave a 5-star review because it does help everybody out there find the podcast easier. Helps with that algorithm, you know what I mean? I love that we just talked about celebrity culture. I'm just like, please follow my content and do all the things. I'm just keeping it real. Like, I wouldn't do this if it wasn't meant with the intention to impact and be something good in everyone else's lives. So yeah, please do that. I would love you and appreciate you for that. And even if you don't, I still love you too. Thank you to Uzuhan for use of his song Uzutrap for the intro, and this week's outro is by an independent artist named Solomon Wook. A song called ADHD Screens. A little song on social media, so it's a little fitting, you know what I mean? But super big fan of finding independent artists and like plugging them on this show. There's more artists to be shared, and I'm excited to discover them. So if you have recommendations, again, I put my contact info. Email me, firstofallpod, or DM me. Let me know if you have an artist that you recommend. But in any case, enjoy the song by Solomon. Thank you for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Drink water, wear sunscreen, as Kevyn Fong would say. I love you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Ooh, new notification. Hope it's some more instant gratification. Hope it's a ticket to the simulation. Comes with a VIP trip to the Matrix. Surrounded by ADHD screens. Till I OD on this ADD. Put my daily feed HTTP. Do anything and everything to make me see. I'm building a clone like Bird Person. I'm building a clone, this the third version. He talk about himself in the third person. I'm not stopping to y'all think he works perfect. Ay. He comes with a rearranged screen and a chip in his brain with a DNA link. So we do what I do, but people can't see. If y'all appreciate him, I can appreciate me. Damn.